Dear listener, you're probably upset. I don't blame you. But you always told me if I ever got a shot at doing Nick Cage movies again, I should take it. And that's what we did. I'm sorry about not doing new films, but blame COVID. And if you want to make requests for future films we do, you can always go to patreon.com/RecessCastProductions. For less than the cost of placebo medication, you can enjoy our show. That's early access, bonus episodes, and exclusive content just for you. If it makes a difference, you're the best audience we've ever had. We love you guys. Ryan. P.S. Enjoy the show.
You've been hit by a smooth
Welcome to After Credits Cast, the only film podcast that can and will drag you to the sidewalk and beat you until you've pissed blood. Sorry, that came out wrong. I am your host, Aaron Wessess-Klein, and I'm joined by Royan Metters.
You stretched it, but I feel you. Well done.
The intro song, of course, is
Smooth Criminal Electro mixed by Unreal QC.
and I want to thank the editors for making sure that the information got in there properly.
Man, those editors are amazing.
Those editors are really amazing. You know, it helps that I know them very well and that they do so much good work. And if you want to support them in the work they do, you should go to patreon.com/RecessCastProductions. You can also follow us on various platforms of choice, including YouTube, Acasts, Apple Podcasts, Google something, whatever they're doing now, Stitcher, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, Podbean, and many, many more. Google us, you will find us. You can also follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook to give our editors their proper thank you, as well as us. We do a lot of work here, too. And Ryan, if they want to email us directly to tell our editors how good of the work they did, where could they email them at?
They can email us at I don't think Sam Rockwell has ever played a likable character at excuse me, sorry. That's evacstation@gmail.com.
I mean, I'm gonna sound awful for saying this. He did play a Nazi once who was actually kind of likable.
I mean, man.
Listen.
Okay, let me rephrase.
He had a redeeming moment at the end.
Think he's.
That's all that matters.
Let me rephrase. I don't think he's played a not villain yet. They're always oddly charming, but they're assholes at the very end.
Yeah. Even the Nazi one wasn't good for longest time. Let's be real. He was a Nazi. Well, you know, we try. Anyway, today will be Flim Flamin' 2003's Matchstick Men, written by Eric Garcia, Nicholas Griffin, and Ted Griffin, directed by Ridley Scott, one of his few non-alien films. The film made a worldwide total of $65 million, which is about $3 million more than what it cost, supposedly.
What?
Yeah, this is an expensive movie for some reason.
How?
Dude, I had to double check and see how much it really cost, because like it said 62, and I'm like, no, that can't be right. That's stupid. I looked at a couple different sites, they all say 62, and I'm like,
what the fuck did they spend it on?
Right? I'm like, where did that money go?
This is a fairly it's character driven. I mean, what locations? I can't imagine you spent $30+ million in order to record at an airport.
They didn't even do a real airport. I had to look it up too. They couldn't go to an airport because it's post 9/11.
Yeah, bro. I don't know. I don't understand.
If someone working on this film can tell me where that $62 million went to, I would like to know, because that seems like nonsense. Like, I'll give you 30. 30 makes more sense to me on this one. But 62, that's ridiculous. That is insane for like how much happened and how little happened. You know what I mean?
This is like this isn't even like a huge star-studded cast. Like there are some names that we recognize, but I don't like there's nobody that's like calling down fucking 7-figure contracts. Like, what do you mean?
Oh yeah, like this is pre Iron Man 2 Sam Rockwell. So I mean, he's obviously not pulling in the big numbers yet.
I don't understand. I don't get it. Oh my god.
Well, speaking of star-studded cast, Ryan, here's my my cast for you. I've got Nigel Gibbs, Tim Kelleher, Fran Kranz, that's a name, Sheila Kelly, Beth Grant, Steve Easton, Jenny O'Hara, Bruce McGill, Bruce Altman, Bruce Wayne. Sorry, I was on a
Nope.
I was on a thing there. Allison Lohman, Sam Rockwell, and of course Nicolas Cage. Yeah, you're right. None of those guys would be a seven-figure person in this film, I don't think.
Like, where, bitch, where? Where's the money?
Like-
Where'd the money go?
Like, even if we're charitably saying that both Nicolas Cage and Sam Rockwell get like $5 million apiece, that's still only $10 million. That's only 1/6 of what the budget was. Like, where did the rest of it go?
Like, I'm not trying to disparage the film because, I spoiler alert, I very much like this film, but the movie in and of itself is not an expensive one to shoot.
No.
It's primarily character driven. You go to a couple of different locations, but it's not like huge action set pieces. It's all the characters in the scenes that are really driving the stakes. So where the fuck did that money go?
Well, obviously it was a grift.
Oh god, it was, wasn't it? It was, wasn't it? Oh fuck, they got him. They fucking got him. Somebody walked away a rich fucking man or woman. Someone walked away rich.
It was probably Sam Rockwell, honestly.
God damn it. Guy's a villain IRL. I don't understand.
So if anyone could report whether or not Sam Rockwell actually did take, like, the majority of this production money, I would love to know, because that sounds like fun. Just a great story right there. Ryan, maybe it's in the fun facts. What do you got for me?
All right. Well, Alison Lohman went to the audition dressed and acted like a 14-year-old girl. Ridley Scott only realized her real age when she told him she was 23 at the time. Immediately grifting. Immediate.
I mean, she clearly auditioned perfectly for the part then. I mean, like, holy shit.
She did.
Holy shit.
100%. Next up, at one point during its development stages, before Ridley Scott was hired, Steven Spielberg was asked to direct, but he turned it down so he could direct Catch Me If You Can, which came out in 2002 instead.
Now, isn't Catch Me If You Can also a movie about con men, basically?
Yes.
So, yeah, he did.
I think he turned it down so that he would have a bigger budget so he could hire Tom Hanks and fucking Leo DiCaprio.
But, like, $62 million, though. He had a pretty solid budget to work with.
Apparently! Jesus.
Well, hang on. While you're talking, I'm going to look up the budget for Catch Me If You Can.
Alright, well, for the final fun fact while that's happening, although the major con at the end of the movie is in the novel, it was left out of the first drafts of the screenplay for fear that audiences would feel cheated if their hero was left penniless. At the suggestion of director Ridley Scott, however, the con was put back into the screenplay, and the last 1 year later sequence was added as a wrap-up. I agree with this, because I felt salty after the grift. I felt salty. Oh, man. Ooh. I'll save it. But, yeah.
So I've got some...
I appreciated the 1 year later wrap-up. I really did.
So I've got some figures here for you, Ryan. So while this movie cost $62 million, Catch If You Can only cost $52 million. They had a smaller budget with bigger actors.
Yes, it was a grift. No, it was 100% a grift. Somebody inflated the numbers and walked away with a cool $30 million. I absolutely believe that's the case. I now 100% believe that. IRL. Somebody pumped up the numbers and grifted the whole fucking thing.
Also, the box office for Catch If You Can, $352 million. So, yeah, I feel like there's a grift happening here.
Somebody conned somebody, man. Somebody walked away with half that budget.
Man, we're breaking some ground here. We're journalists now.
That's nonsense. Yeah, somebody walked away with a big ass check for funsies.
Initial thoughts. Well, this movie's obviously a grift, but one of the first Nick Cage movies I've ever seen, actually. Like, I think I remember this is the first one I saw as a kid. So this is like when I was 13, maybe. So I always loved it for the solid acting and the twist at the end. That was really good. I think it still holds up really well even after all these years.
Nice, nice, nice. This was the first time I've seen it, and I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was a very, very solid movie. I I love how the movie managed to surprise me, even though I called the grift like early in the movie.
Oh, okay, there's a question where I'm going to ask you about that. Don't.
I saw Sam Rockwell, and he made one comment about how Nicolas Cage's character can afford to just drop everything and retire right now, but he can't. I was just like, this is a fucking con. He's conning him immediately. He's conning him. That's it. But yeah, well, I'll save it for the discussion. But yeah, I love how it managed to surprise me, even though I called the first part of the twist.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, so we've got a synopsis here for you. I hope you like it, Ryan. I put a lot of work into it.
Ooh, okay. I'm keeping my drink far away. Let's get this.
Conman Roy and his partner Frank are doing business as usual when Roy's pills suddenly go down the drain. Roy goes into a downward spiral of depression and OCD behavior when Frank steps in to save him. He recommends a therapist to get him some new pills, which he gets kind of. This therapist also pushes Roy to better himself and seek out connections/relationships. Roy takes his advice and gets in touch with his presumed estranged daughter, Angela. Angela is a teenager, but acts very mature for her age. The two hit it off very well enough, and Angela pushes to stay with Roy more because she gets into fights with her mom. Angela stumbles into Roy's private life, learning about his chosen profession. Roy also goes along with Frank for a bigger con than their usual small jobs, his confidence having been boosted by this new connection he's made with his daughter. If you're hearing the finger quotes, just wait a minute. The two con one rich dude at an airport. Using their usual distraction stand-in was unavailable, so Roy reluctantly pulls his daughter into the mix. The con goes well, but the rich dude figures it out before they get the getaway. A chase happens, and Roy wants his daughter out before she gets hurt. He is taking her back and decides the only real solution is to quit grifting altogether. Fair. The two reunite and live happily ever after. Oh, wait, no, the rich dude actually manages to track the trio down, thanks to a handy bunch of security cameras in the airport gift shop. Negotiations fail, and Angela ends up shooting the rich dude. Roy agrees to take the fall if Frank can get Angela out of town and somewhere safe. Just as Roy's about to clean up, he gets knocked out. We were then given several reveals that everything was a con, all of it. Roy never had a daughter, he was never in danger of being arrested, and the rich guy and the therapist were in on it too. Roy is left penniless and broken. A year later, we see him working at a carpet distributor where he runs into Angela again. They talk, but he holds no grudges against her, still thinking of her like a daughter.
Yeah, that 1 year later was necessary, man. I would have been so upset if it ended right there.
So I'll jump to that question actually right away, because that's actually one of the ones on my list here. Do you agree with the ending change to form a more optimistic tone, or do you think it should have ended before the 1 year later jump?
I do agree to give it a somewhat optimistic tone because it doesn't cheapen what happened. You know, like when Angela shows up in the carpet store, like Roy is pissed. Roy is like mad, like big mad, but he's holding it back, and as he's talking to her, you can see the rationales that he's come to. It kind of gets to the issues where, you know, when he's originally talking to her about his job, and he says, my job sucks because a lot of the times it involves me taking money from people who don't deserve it. And throughout the course of the movie, Roy, aside from the fact that he's a con man, is a fairly decent stand-up guy, and all he's trying to do is just make a living and do right by his daughter, to the point where he's willing to give up everything, his life, his possessions, even his freedom, in order to make sure that his daughter is safe. So, from a moral standpoint, con man aside, he doesn't deserve this. But he is a con man. And the majority of his psychosomatic OCD stems from his guilt of conning people. So when he talks to Angela, it's almost as if he's come to this conclusion and he says, I can't really hold it against you because if you're gonna go swimming, you're gonna get wet. Like when he says that to her about getting stiffed out of her cut from the job by Frank, he says that to her, but he's really saying that to himself.
Yep.
And I love that. I love that. So I love the epilogue because it gives you that optimism, but it doesn't shy away from everything that the movie just did. Like at the end of the day, Roy, although a decent person, was a con man, and he was in the game, and that is fair play. And he understands that. And he only really achieves true happiness when he completely gets out of that.
Yep. I was going to say, once he's removed from it, his OCD seems to disappear. He gets to actually pursue real relationships and actually be a person versus, not living life. And it's interesting that we're pairing these movies together tonight, of all things. But
yeah,
I know, but this is a character who actually gets to live his life once he exits out of the life that he has chosen, and it seems to be a better fit for him at the end of the day. And I think that's more why his anger subsides, or at least it doesn't boil over when Angela shows up at the end. Along with what you said, of course. Looking back at the film, was Frank's con on Roy even feasible, or were there too many factors he failed to account for that should have gone wrong?
I think the only thing that I thought was too left to chance was him knocking the pills down the drain, because that was entirely just Roy accidentally fucking up.
I think that's more of the trigger for the grift than the actual part of the grift. Like I think he was waiting for Roy to ever do anything that would get him in that position before he made the move.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. He was just kind of doing prep work before that happened. It's just like, okay, we've got it. But the fact that he had the therapist, that he had somebody to play his 14-year-old daughter, the fact that he had all that in place from the moment that happens is a little far-fetched. Just a little bit. Now, if there was some outside thing that caused the pills to be disappeared, I would understand that a little better.
I think the problem is, though, that Frank and Roy have been together for so long. Frank knows, and it ties into my final question, so I guess I'll just kind of loop it together. I think Roy is a good mark for Frank. And the reason for this is very simple. The OCD. Roy has to do things a certain way. He has to live and act and behave in very specific ways every day, all the time. Same food, same habits, everything. Because if he doesn't, it's chaos for him.
Yeah.
Frank knows this, and he's worked with Roy for countless years. We don't know, but it's at least a good number for sure. So Frank knows this, and I think while he wouldn't have necessarily laid out every bit of groundwork like you're saying, I think he would have at least had the right people in his pocket to know, okay, so when this happens, I need to make some calls to get this moving. And I think when he realized Roy was out for a whole day, he knew something was up, so he started maybe making those calls, getting things laid out. It's like, okay, when I know for sure, we're going to start hitting the ground running. But only when I know for sure. And that's when he goes in, sees the pills, sees what's going on. It's like, oh, shit, well, let's go on to plan B here.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Aside from that, I feel like everything else made so much sense. That's why I called it as a grift. I'm like, this is there is a grift afoot. There is a grift afoot. I'm looking at Frank. I'm looking at him because I'm like, he is the obvious person to pull the grift. What surprised me was the level, the extent of the grift. The fact that the therapist was in on it blew my mind. And the final reveal about Angela almost made me cry.
Mhm.
Almost made me cry. Because it's just like, okay, I'm penniless. I have no money. Please just let me have my daughter. Please. Please. And the fact that he gears himself up, he goes to his ex, and he's like, is Angela home? It's just like, who's Angela? I'm like, oh no. Oh no. He's like, no, you were pregnant 14 years ago. And when she says, I lost it, I was done. I was like, okay.
That one hurt quite a bit, yeah.
Damn, God. Like, I don't care how bad of a person he is in terms of, because he's a decent person who is willing to literally give up everything for his daughter, but he is a con man. Those, like, kind of balance out the scales, but, like, the fact that it hits him with the, you never had a kid, period. It's just like, ugh. Like your kid died. Like, I was pregnant and then I miscarried. And I was just like, he doesn't deserve this, guys. It's now too much. It's now become too much, guys. Please, please.
I suppose my only concern with Frank's grift, and I ask this question as well, why doesn't Roy ever just call Angela's mom himself? Like, I get at first, there's the awkward, like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. We haven't spoken to each other in forever. But, like, once they start connecting, it seems weird to me if Roy would never talk to Angela's mom directly to plan things, schedule things, or even to ask simple questions.
I think...
Especially with how super cautious he is.
Sure. I think that was primarily Angela's doing, because she moved into his apartment and throws him off his game and essentially puts the ball in his court where, like, he has to deal with her, like, right here and right now, and then pulls him in even more by developing the connection between the two of them, even so far where she's starting, like, where she gets him to agree to teach her about grifting, and their bond is going so well. I feel like he never really thinks to contact the mom because he's so focused on building the relationship with Angela, specifically because Angela seems at odds with her mom. So I feel like it's possible that going to her mom would have almost felt like a bit of a betrayal, to the point where the moment that he says you need to go back home, she immediately treats it like a betrayal, so he has to back up. It kind of just, it puts the kibosh on him even contacting the mom for any reason at that point.
That's fair, I guess. I'm thinking more of just, like, if I were in his shoes, what would I have done? And of course, knowing me, I would, like, listen, I want to make sure that you're supposed to be here. I want to make sure that you don't have any allergies. I don't know who the fuck you are, really, so, like, let me just call your mom and make sure you're not going to, like, die if I give you a peanut or something.
Right. Also, the whole, if you disappeared on me and I had no idea where you were, I would lose my mind. So I don't want your mom to go through that. Let me give her a call. That's where my mind would go. Oh,
yeah. So, I mean, like, we're both on the same page. Like, it's weird he doesn't, but it makes sense he doesn't, so.
Yeah. It makes sense for the character and for the predicament that he's in. Also because he's being fucking conned. He's being hella conned.
Did you believe Angela was Roy's daughter, and what made her so convincing? And did she have any tells that said otherwise?
I very much did. I like that. That's kind of why the final betrayal, like, hurts so bad, because I don't know. She sold it so well. She sold it impeccably. I personally didn't catch anything that made me suspicious of her. I was suspicious of Frank the entire time, and perhaps that's by design, because the misdirection is immaculate right there. I'm so busy staring at Sam Rockwell, knowing he's gonna do some villainous shit, that Alison Lohman is over here robbing me blind.
Just don't be in the same room with those two. I feel like you're not going to make it out alive.
Yeah, no, I'd be done. What really also killed me is that Angela is the only one who actually knows the code for the safety deposit box, and she has an access signature, so she's the only one who can do it. But the fact that the therapist is in on it, and that Roy gives that information to the therapist so that he can get it to his daughter, and so that the daughter can just like escape and be okay, or that she can secure the money so that they can both be okay. It takes at all times, it takes the blame off of her. I never even consider to think that she is not his daughter until the very end, because at all points of him discovering the grift, it never points to her. You know what I mean?
So, I've seen this movie more than once. So I was looking for...
Show me what I missed, please.
So I don't think you missed anything. I was looking for tells. I was looking for something that gave her away. And the only things I can think of are A, the fact that she's constantly keeping him and the mother at arm's length, because the minute that connection is made, the whole thing's off. So I think that alone, trying to hide that piece of the game, is suspicious. But at the same time, if she's a teenager, yeah, you're not going to want people to meet your mom. You're going to fight that. You're a rebellious teenager. I get it. So there's enough doubt to make it so it's not an issue, but it is definitely a yellow flag, if anything.
Yeah.
The thing that really stuck out to me, and it's not something she did, but Roy mostly, he overshared with her very quickly. Like, the minute they get to the bank and he's like, oh, hey, give her her signature, give her the code or whatever, I'm sitting here like, man, you've known her for like maybe 24 to 48 hours total. I would not give that code to someone I've known for less than a year. I swear to you, that would have been like my cutoff right there. And she gets that stuff like almost within a couple days. Like that, you're setting yourself up for something, man. That's a bad move. That's a bad move.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I would say it wasn't so much a tell she did, but more a tell of the film by having him overshare. Because if he's as cautious as he is, he would not have done that, I don't think. I think he would have definitely played it closer to the chest. So
I don't think it really breaks his character, because I think ultimately his character was so desperate for connection that that once he also you're left to infer that the reason that he and his ex broke up was because of the grifting. So the fact that not only is his daughter back in his life and she wants to get to know him better, but she finds this unsavory part of his life and it doesn't drive her away, but she wants to share that with him. I think those two things in combination are just like, absolutely. All right, let's go ahead. I'll show you what I know. And so like I get it. It absolutely is dangerous, but she sold the idea that she was 14 so well that the concept of her grifting him never crossed his mind.
You know, now that we're talking about it, I kind of want to see what else Alison Lohman's done, because she was really solid in this. Like, she played the character who played him so well, right? Like, I want to see what else she's done. Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I've got to take a look at that too.
So she played the main character in Drag Me to Hell. That was a pretty good movie. I liked it.
I still have to see that.
She really hasn't done a whole lot. Her last movie as an actress was in 2016. So she's done Officer Down, Urge, The Vatican Tapes, Gamer, Beowulf.
She's done a couple of TV series back in the early 2000s.
Maybe the problem is more she's just getting herself into bad stuff. Like maybe get into a good movie where she could show herself off. She plays the voice of Nausicaa.
I just saw that.
God
damn.
Fucking,
that's so cool.
Fucking call back to that episode.
Oh, okay.
Okay. She's not like top tier actress, but like she's in my short list of people I'm going to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah, def.
Even though she hasn't done shit for almost 5 years. Alison Lohman, get back on the saddle. You're good. I don't know who told you otherwise, but you good. Next question I got here. What do you make of the relationship between Roy and the grocery store lady?
I liked it. I really liked it. I think it's very endearing that I don't know. I think her attraction to him is very sweet, and we don't see her cashier interaction with other members, but it's very evident that she counts each bill out one by one just for Roy. So it shows that she's paying attention to him and that she's trying to engage with him in very subtle ways as well. I absolutely loved that. And I think that as Roy became more comfortable and less neurotic and like constantly checking every single angle to make sure that he's not in danger, like he starts to notice and reciprocate that. So I really, really liked that. And I mean, she's a cashier at a grocery store, you know? Like it's nothing ridiculous, it's nothing elaborate. It's just a normal, honest, quiet life. So the fact that the end of the movie is him in a normal, honest, quiet life with this person and like having a baby is kind of it's kind of the best end he could have hoped for, because while he lost all of his money, he gained the connections that he lost from his profession.
It's a very nice feel-good ending to a movie you wouldn't expect it to have.
Truthfully, I honestly like, so I was under the impression that if I'm catching the grift, Roy's absolutely gotta see the grift. It's obvious. It's 100%. He's got it. If he's a master grifter, he's got this. He's got this. The fact that so when they're escaping from the airport and the guy is chasing them like down the stairs, and Angela tells him which lane to go to, and he goes there, and they're right behind somebody who's deciding to chat up the parking assistant lady. You can hear that is Sam Rockwell's voice. I heard it. I'm like, this is a con.
I'll have to go back and
Frank.
see that. I'll have to go back and see that. I missed that.
I was like, 100%, that's him. If I see it, then he sees it. So I'm going to be really interested on how he turns the tables on Frank. Then the grift happens.
Here's the thing, though.
And he doesn't.
Here's the thing, though. I think in that moment, he's not paying attention for that because, A, his life's in danger. He's more focused on escaping. But also, B, Angela's there. And I think Angela's presence distracts him from the things he would normally pay attention to.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I'm not saying that the movie doesn't make sense because he didn't see it coming. I think I think the film industry, or at least in my experience with movies and with like heist films, I think it's become commonplace for a heist to be planned and then for something to go wrong, only for the movie to reveal that the protagonist saw it all along and that he's built in a twist within a twist so that he can fuck over the people that thought they were going to get the jump on him. Like, I'm thinking of every fucking Ocean's 11, 12, 13 movie and every other heist film like in existence. So I guess I was kind of expecting that to happen. And so the real twist for me was that it didn't. And that he just got wrecked. And I'm like, what? What?
I think if this had been a face-off, Con Air, The Rock level action film, that would have been how it would have gone down. Because then there would have been a reason for, there would have been a genre explanation for, oh, this is why Roy finds out, and this is when he becomes a badass and turns tables. But I think this is a different kind of film. This is definitely a movie where he's not meant to get revenge, but more to learn a lesson. And I think that's supposed to get passed on to us to an extent. And so I think that's why it ends the way it does. I think if it ended the other way, it would have had to devolve into an action film at some point, or something else a little bit more, less grounded.
It would have been more entertainment rather than like an actual, like, really grounded piece of cinema.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the epilogue is so goddamn important, because the epilogue is really where the lessons are driven home. It's where you find him a year later working at a place. He's confronted with the person who arguably hurt him the most in this grift, despite him only knowing her for a few weeks at this point. And you see him dealing with the anger, you see him accepting what happened, and that it was a byproduct of the lifestyle that he was leading, which deep down he really didn't want to leave. And you see him grow and become a better person because this happened. Even though the worst thing happened to him, he managed to get the best out of it. Mm-hmm. If you just end with him broken after hearing that the child he thought he was getting to know actually was miscarried and that it was all an illusion and he's left with nothing, what the fuck did I watch this movie for? Mm-hmm. God damn. Mm-hmm. If it ends right there, then it pisses the audience off. But the epilogue not only gives him a better ending, but it actually gets deeper into the meaning of the story.
I would agree with that. My question next for you is Frank a bad guy, or is he just an opportunist? And do you begrudge him for stealing from Roy? Why or why not?
Frank is an asshole because he's played by Sam Rockwell. This is hilarious because I've actually watched like in-depth interviews with Sam Rockwell, and Sam Rockwell's a really fucking good actor. Like Sam Rockwell's like really good and like is a great person and just is a really interesting person to like pick his brain. But every time I see him on my screen, he's playing some type of antagonist. It's something that he knows how to do very well while also being very charismatic. To get to your actual question, I absolutely do. I do begrudge him because of the fact that, he had been working with Roy for what seems to be years, to the point where like Frank is like an actual trusted member of like of Roy's inner circle, so that it never occurs to him that Roy's gonna fuck him over, that Frank's gonna fuck him over, and to build up trust in someone only to, like, explicitly to screw them over at a key moment is really, really like shitty to me. But they are con men, and this is literally their job. I don't think he was an opportunist because he had to build, it's a long con. It's not oh, I think I can rob him for everything he's worth. Let's give it a shot. Like, he got into that with the idea of fucking him over. The fact that he learned so much from Roy and became a better grifter because Roy took the time to actually teach him and show him the ropes, only to turn around and fuck him over entirely. Yeah, I understand from an objective standpoint that is actually the game, and that's kind of what they get at the end, but personally, I still think that's bullshit, and I don't like him.
Before I was but the learner, but now I am the master.
Yep.
No, so opportunist is probably not the right word, but I don't want to say he's necessarily a quote-unquote bad guy. Because, like you said, it's part of the game. It's part of what they did. They both entered this verbal contract, I would assume, under the impression that neither one was going to betray the other. But I think Frank saw that Roy was continually becoming more and more unhinged and less stable. And I think he realized that this is only going to end one of two ways. Either Roy's going to mess things up and get them both in trouble, or he's going to get so far gone that he has the opportunity to capitalize on it and get out while he can, and allow this to end for both of them. I think Frank chose the path of destiny that gave him the most control. And I think that is why he did what he did. I still am not a fan of what he did, but I don't think there's any other way he would have gone about it with everything Roy's taught him. And like he says, you said if I ever had the opportunity to go after the big one, go for it, man. And that's what it was. And yeah.
I don't know. The only thing that keeps me from agreeing is the fact that it feels like too elaborate of a setup. Also, the fact that it early on it's established that Roy doesn't like long cons and that Frank is the one to talk him into a long con. It felt too on the nose to think that this whole thing was an elaborate long con because that's what Frank is good at. So I don't know. It feels too set up, like too many moving parts that were actually already in motion, for it to be I think he's gonna end up taking me down, so I'm gonna take him down first. Particularly because when during the course of the grift, when it gets so close to them being screwed over, Roy makes the decision to leave the game. And he's like, I'm not going to put my daughter in danger, and I'm not going to put you in danger. I'm just going to be out. This last job that we did, you can have the whole fucking thing, man. Go nuts. Take it with my blessing. I'm just going to walk away. So if he does that, if this whole thing is real, and he does that, Frank is completely safe. Frank is not in danger at that point. And the only person who would get caught would be possibly Angela and then Roy, but Frank is in the clear. So it kind of kills the whole he did it as a self-preservation thing for me. It makes me feel like this was the plan all along.
Well, but I think you're thinking of that particular opportunity. I think this is, like I said, they've been partners for years, and Roy's OCD condition's probably gotten worse over the years. I think, that's what his logic was. But I just thought of something. Earlier we discussed about how the whole pills being knocked down the drain was just a random chance, and Frank had to capitalize on this random chance and all that stuff. But think about it this way, though. We find out that Roy's doctor has left and cannot give him more pills. That bottle of pills was going to empty at some point. At some point, this was going to happen, whether it was him accidentally dropping them down the drain or him just running out. So I think Frank had planned for this for a while and knew this was going to be an eventuality. I think, if anything, he just had to speed up the timetable more than he expected to.
Okay, that is interesting. That is interesting.
And the other thing to consider, too, is, did that doctor ever really leave, or was that something else that was part of the plan? I don't want to assume it is, because that seems like it's too much. But I think he was just counting down the days until the pills were out, and then could move on with the plan, one way or another.
Maybe.
I almost want to see, not a sequel, but maybe just a 30-minute spin-off of just everything from Frank's perspective. Just so I can see the other side of the story.
Yeah, I'd like to see the setup. The whole setup of the thing.
Mm-hmm. Final question I've got here. How do you feel about Nick Cage's portrayal of an OCD behavior, and why does it seem to disappear after he leaves the grifting game? I think we've kind of hit that one a little bit, but...
Yeah, I think so. But, I I feel like, and of course, I don't have OCD, and I am not a licensed professional, so take everything that I'm about to say with a grain of salt. It didn't feel like it felt like a fun portrayal of OCD.
It didn't feel like a mean portrayal by any means.
Right. I'm not sure of how accurate of a portrayal it was. It felt like an outlet for Nick Cage to do some goofy shit.
Just see him.
That's kind of the read that I had for it. At least it allowed Nick Cage to kind of do some more stuff that I know Nick Cage to do with the crazy and the goofy shit, as opposed to like an established OCD diagnosis. Thank you.
Right.
But that also kind of lends itself to the story of the fact that it's all psychosomatic, because the OCD is it's an extension of his unconscious desire to not do what he's doing. Either that, or it's just it's an extension of the stress that he constantly places himself under in order to be the best grifter. Because it makes sense. He's so good because he sees all of the angles and he knows all of the various ways to convince and to lie to people. So an overabundance of stress would be him constantly trying to counteract people trying to rob him. That makes sense. It makes sense as a psychosomatic kind of disorder in regards to that. So it would make sense that it doesn't present itself as an actual legit case of OCD because he doesn't legitimately have OCD.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially, I mean, once especially when you take into the factor about the whole pills being fake at one point and the whole thing disappearing, or at least minimizing after he gets out of the game. Yeah, there's a lot of factors to indicate this is all just in his head, and like I said, it's good to know that he kind of gets a healthy life after all this. Just, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I would love to hear, for anyone out there who is suffering from OCD, their take on it. They want to let us know how good the portrayal is, or if it doesn't work at all, or what have you. You can always reach out to us on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook. And Ryan, if they want to email us directly what they think of this portrayal, where could they email us at?
They can email us at Sam Rockwell is a villain IRL. Come at me. Excuse me. Sorry. That's evacstation@gmail.com.
I'm trying to remember the name of the other actor who always plays the bad guy. The one who played Lex Luthor in the one Superman movie.
Gene Hackman?
No.
Kevin Spacey?
Kevin Spacey, that's it. He's basically just Kevin Spacey 2.0. Hopefully he stays away from kids, and that'll make him better. But we'll see.
I mean, Kevin Spacey has played some protagonists as well.
Right.
Like, he's played some good people, too.
Right. I bet you Sam Rockwell has played some good people. We just haven't seen those movies yet.
Yeah.
Tune in
Plus,
next...
it would fuck up the bit, so...
Tune in next month when we watch all of the Sam Rockwell movies.
Hey!
Actually...
I could watch The Green Mile again. That's a beautiful movie, and it makes me hate Sam Rockwell even more.
Who did he play in The Green Mile? I don't remember him being in that one.
Bruh!
Dude, it's been a minute since I've seen that one. I don't remember who he plays.
Sam Rockwell is the crazy rapist. He's the guy that killed the little girl.
I honestly forgot he was in
that Michael Clark Duncan is in jail for.
I honestly forgot he was in that movie. I remember Michael Clark Duncan.
That was him.
I remember Tom Hanks. I did not remember Sam Rockwell at all.
Yeah, man, that was him.
Man. I need to watch that one again. It's been...
He is a villain.
It's been... What year is it? 2021? It's been about a decade since I've seen that movie, I think. So...
That's fair, but you should definitely give it a rewatch. That is absolutely a masterpiece.
I'm not looking forward to getting old and all these movie things that we talk about just fade from memory. Like, I hope it doesn't happen, but, like, part of me is scared that I'm getting old and it's going to happen.
You want to talk about getting old? I came to realize that this movie is almost 20 years old. That fucked me up. I was like, ooh, 2003. Okay, so not too old. Nope, actually.
It's shocking. Bro, we're on the 25th anniversary of Pokemon right now.
Oh, dude,
Right?
please stop. Stop. My heart, please.
Anyway, so this is where we rank the film from platinum to trash, all the codes in between. Ryan, what do you rank Matchstick Men?
Oh man, damn, I really like this one. I really like this one. I don't think this one is required viewing at all, and I don't think it's as good as adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
But I still really liked it, and I still think it's really good. I don't want to give it a bronze because I think it's better than bronze. I'm going to give it a lower silver than adaptation.
I like how we have scales within the scales, but like the gradient of silver is not an official
Middle tier silver, silver 0.5. Yeah.
I will go solid silver because I gave the other one a gold, so I can do that. No, I would say that this is definitely a silver. I don't think it's a must-see either, but I do think it's fun. I do think it's definitely worth spending a few bucks on it. Go check it out. But if you miss it, you're not gonna miss anything like beyond mind-bending nonsense because it's another heist con man style movie. And I'm not saying when you've seen one, you've seen them all, but I do think there are ones that do more and do better. Yeah. But this is not bad by any means. It's definitely a solid entry into the con man universe. So, because all the con man movies all take place in the same universe, just so you know.
I mean, I would argue that the heist elements of the movie have definitely been done better elsewhere, but I also think it gets deeper than a good amount of the other heist movies. So like its focus wasn't purely on the heist aspect, but rather on like the character work of those involved.
That's fair.
That kind of elevates it for me, at least. Like like if you want to talk about like a heist movie that actually has like a really cool and deep set of characters, you definitely want to check out Heat. So it's not Heat, but I feel like it's a better movie in general than Ocean's 11.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say this is better or worse than Ocean's 11 because that's a whole different kind of animal.
Like Ocean's 11 is an enjoyment movie. Matchstick Men is one that you kind of want to actually think about and like kind of digest.
Like every other Nicolas Cage movie we've done so far. Well,
I know this dude is crazy. That won't change at any point during this season. Of course not. Why would it?
Oh, I think I know where you're going at there. But this reminds me of an episode of 9-9 we just watched where Peralta and Kevin are like in a safe house. And the only thing they can do is like watch Nicolas Cage movies that Peralta brings with them for some reason.
Oh my god.
I love
seeing Peralta rub off on Kevin is one of the best progressions of the show, because as Kevin gets like more and more ridiculous, it's just like, this is entirely Jake's fault. I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm. I love the ending of that episode though, where they talk about the movies that they didn't watch, and he's like, "Oh, I guess we could have watched Leaving Las Vegas," and it's a dark, depressing view on alcoholism and everything. And Kevin's like, "The fuck, we could have watched that?" And
wait, what do you mean he has serious movies that we can actually talk about? Oh god.
And then what Peralta says is super true. The man has range.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to our silliness. Tune in next week when you might be listening to Moonstruck or what are the other movies we have on the list? I don't remember what they all were. Where's the schedule at for this? Here, hang on. Pre-roll tracker. No, one more. Next week it might be Matchstick Men. It could be Mom and Dad, or it could be Adaptation, or it could be Moonstruck. I don't know what's coming next. Roll dice, we'll find out. But it may also be Willy's Wonderland. You never know. You never know. Ryan, I also want to let everyone know too because this is coming out in May, I think. What's this adaptation? Yeah, so this is coming out either end of May or end of April or beginning of May. If you have not seen it yet, gentlemen and ladies, next month on May 7th will be the unique, one-of-a-kind, exclusive episode we're doing on the Snyder Cut.
Oh, boy.
I did not tell Ryan I was signing us up for this, but yes, I am signing us up for this. This is going to be a thing.
Yeah, well, Allegra was going to make me watch the Snyder Cut anyway.
So we might as well capitalize on that. We might
as well do it. I'm going to watch it regardless.
I am going to just say that when we do it, we probably won't do a traditional episode like we normally do. It'll be a little different, I think. We just have to figure out how.
I mean, we're gonna have to have some discussion for a 4-hour movie.
Oh, I'm gonna fast forward. I'm gonna fast forward some shit for sure. I'm telling you that right now.
Like, are you joking?
Well, I'll be watching. I'll be like, oh, is this another origin story for Batman? Skip.
Like, instead of 30-second YouTube trailers for the rest of the Justice League, we're gonna get actual, like, separate movies for each member of the Justice League now. That's what the other 2 hours are gonna be for.
I know we're getting really on off topic here, but Ryan, I've seen pictures of Steppenwolf. He looks just as dumb as before. Like, you can't just throw spikes on him and say he's cooler now. Like, he still looks like an idiot.
I'm trying to maintain a level of optimism, because there are some movie reviewers that I actually respect that are very interested in what the Snyder Cut will be, and it will change the whole tone of the movie. So I'm trying to go into it with an open mind. But
I want to, but like I'm so not feeling it. But I want to see it so I can at least say, I could give a justification for why I'm not feeling it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I at the end of the day, I was gonna buy HBO Max for the other movies that are coming out, so I might as well watch this goddamn movie. Let's just do it. It'll be an interesting date night for me and Allegra, and then we'll get to talk about it. So if it surprises me, awesome. If it sucks, then we can riff on that shit like Mystery Science Theater 2000.
The good news is when we record it, it'll be the same night we record Godzilla vs. King Kong, so we'll have we'll have fun no matter what we do.
That's gonna be a marathon recording night then. Okay, shit.
Well, thank you for listening, everybody, and you got a little sneak peek as what's coming, or has happened, whatever. We'll see you after the credits.
Bye, y'all.